That I'm speaking right after the election, the week after the election, and I work for the largest political lobby in the country that represents the rights of the small business community, both at the state and the federal level. When Katie asked me a topic, I told her what I'm going to talk about is the fact that small business always has been and always will be under constant attack from the state. In my introduction before, NFIB is the National Federation of Independent Business. Okay, we are not affiliated with the Republicans or the Democrats or anybody else. Our constituency is small business owners, period. Okay, and we actually have right now 31 members of Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, are actually members of our organization. We've been around for 73 years, okay, March of 1943. We have over 350,000 members nationwide, representing literally every type of business you can imagine. You know, many of you guys in the room are members, so you're familiar. But the thing is, we're very well known, okay? We are the voice of small business. I want to read the mission statement off the back of my business card. Mission statement of NFIB is to promote and protect the right of our members to own, operate, and grow their businesses. Now, why do I say that businesses are constantly under attack? Well, unfortunately, every dime that government spends, they had to take from someone else in the form of taxes, okay? Unless they're printing money, which is another way of taking money because it devalues the dollars in your pocket. So every penny of taxes that is spent basically by government comes from us. And when they look at a small business owner, they come after you guys first, okay? When they overspend, okay, when they put ridiculous regulation, they're like, well, who can we go after? Okay, and politically, you know, the average middle-class person, when it comes time to vote, is going to remember that if you hit them in the pocket. And they look as a group, well, who has money? Who can we go after? And who's not really politically organized? And they say, small business owners. Now, the big businesses, okay, we do not represent big business. We are not here for Microsoft. We are not here for Walmart. We're not here for, you know, Amazon. We're here for the pharmacist on the corner whose great-great-great-grandfather started that business 100 years ago, and every day has to deal with increasing damaging legislation. Okay, here, well, let's use pharmacy as an example. Okay, did you know, and you talk to any pharmacist and they will tell you this, did you know that many times when a pharmacist is filling a prescription that costs him $100, he might only get reimbursed $90 if he's lucky? Did you know that in the state of New York, it is illegal for an insurance company to tell their members you have to use mail order, and yet it happens every single day? And this constricts that guy's business because he's losing customers and he's losing money. What's he supposed to do? He has a customer been coming to him for 50 years. Okay? No, I'm not going to fill your medication. And he's going to go to CVS, or he's going to go to Dwayne Reed and he's going to lose a customer? No. So he takes the hit. All right? Not just pharmacists. Okay? Victor's in the trades. He's a member. He knows that tradespeople, construction, plumbers, electricians, all these people, there are some horrendous things pending. And a lot of times, to make it palatable, what they do is they disguise it as something that that sounds wonderful. Oh, EPA, the Waters of the Waters of the United States Act. What does that mean? Oh, well, we're concerned about the environment. We're concerned about water. We want to make sure that, you know, water is properly disposed of. What they're not telling you is this is a regulatory land grab by the EPA to allow the federal government entree onto private property. Let me give you a great example. You own a construction company. You're on site. You're driving a backhoe, and it's the day before yesterday. Now, the day before yesterday was gorgeous, right? What happened yesterday? torrential rains, okay? What's on that job site today? Puddles. Puddles. Under this act, which was completely circumvented Congress and due process, under this act, the EPA can now walk onto that property, private property, look at that puddle and tell the business owner, I don't think you're handling that water right. So you need a $277,000 permit. And if you don't take care of it the way we want, we're going to fine you $37,000 per day. Per day. This will put people out of business like that. This is what we fight. Okay, that's just two examples, and I could literally be up here for hours, but I only got 10 minutes. So when you elect an official like we did last week, okay, remember something. These are public servants. They work for you. Okay, we are hiring them to do the jobs that we do. And a big part of what we do is accountability of those folks, both in Washington and in Albany. I put on your desks some things. What I'd like to show you right now are these two documents, okay? This is how Congress voted. This is how your state legislators voted. And if you open it up, the how Congress voted, you'll see the key. We actually show you. These are the issues that we were discussing. And you'll see every person in Washington from every state, how they voted and whether or not it aligned with the NFIB position. Same thing on this, which is for the state. Now we have these for every state. We're a national organization. We're in Washington, D.C. We're in every state capital. Our headquarters is in Nashville, Tennessee. So how do we arrive at these positions? Well, guess what? It's not up to us. We're an independent organization. We're not Republican, we're not Democrat. So how do we decide what we're going to support? Well, we ask the membership. Okay, these, what I gave you, are a couple of sample ballots, which we email or mail for people who don't have email to the entire membership. And if you look, we give the pros and cons of each issue. Then we ask the membership to vote. Once the membership votes, we have to get a 60% or better consensus before we'll take up a position. If it's 59%, we leave it to touch it. So we don't. Membership makes the policy, okay? And once the membership has spoken and say this is what we will rally our lobbyists and our political contacts and our attorneys, and we will go forward. A couple of examples of what I'm talking about. There was, and again, the positions came from our membership. Most of which are small businesses, half of which are sole proprietors. I mean, half of our membership are guys in a truck with a ladder and tools, maybe a handyman or a contractor or one person businesses. So there's no saying, well, I don't need to be a member because I'm only one person. Couple of victories that we've had here in the state of New York. MTA state payroll tax. This was a tax that was levied on every business in New York State to subsidize New York City buses and trains. You live up in Albany and you're paying to subsidize the MTA. All right, we got 80% of the businesses in this state exempt from that tax. So most businesses don't have to pay that anymore. Okay, that was us. Recently, big fight was minimum wage, and I don't know where you may personally feel about this, but overwhelmingly, small businesses said this is going to hurt them severely. Matter of fact, 2 weeks before this was passed, we actually do something called Small Business Day, where we actually take small business owners up to Albany to sit face to face with the legislators and discuss. And several of them stood face to face with the state legislature, says, if you pass this, you're going to put me out of business. I cannot afford to pay every single one of my full-time employees $32,000 a year. I can't afford it. And the course of my job is I go around every day and I speak to business owners, and every week I have at least 2 people who told me just because of that one thing, they're closing their business, they're selling their business, they give up. Okay? So the light at the end of the tunnel with that is because of our efforts, we made them put in a provision that 2 years in, they're going to review the economic impact of that law. And if it's extremely negative, they're going to stop it maybe around $12 an hour. So, we're kind of confident about that because they tried this in Seattle about a year ago. And in the Seattle area, they put $15 an hour. They lost 10,000 jobs in the first 9 months, and the surrounding area gained 5,000. And that's Seattle, not New York. So we're hopeful, okay? On the national level, I think probably the biggest battle that we were involved with was healthcare, Obamacare. And it was a big issue in the election. I don't know if you saw in the Post about 2 weeks ago, headline was that they're expecting 25% increases in premiums in health insurance in the next quarter. Okay. And this is something we were against from day one, and we actually fought all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States. It was NFIB versus Sabellis. We asked 80 other groups to partner with us. Nobody else wanted to get their hands dirty. Nobody else wanted to get involved. We fought all the way up to the Supreme Court, and what happened came down to one vote. That was Justice John Roberts, who claims to be a conservative, who called it a tax, and stuck us with, something that was extreme. I mean, I know personally, again, when I go out every day, I'll speak to an average of on a daily basis. Every day, at least one of them will tell me, you know what, Mark, the hell with it. I'm paying the penalty. I can't afford this. Never mind providing, I can't afford it. I'll pay the penalty. No, I don't have health insurance, which is how I used to get Ralph so many referrals. So this is something that we do. Gives you an idea of the scope. Now, as far as benefits of the membership, some frequently asked questions that I get is, well, I'm a sole proprietor. I don't have any employees. None of the stuff you're talking about applies to me. Well, yes, it does. First of all, what these politicians are counting on to keep doing this is your ignorance. They don't want you to be educated. Tom will, I'm sure, back me up on that. The less you know, the better for them. One of the major things that we do is educate our members. Okay, we have an app that's free that you could download to an iPhone or an Android. Keeps you abreast of what's going on legislatively. I give every new member the telephone number of Mike Durant, who's our state director. If you ever have a question about pending legislation or an issue or something you get like it, you can pick up the phone and call him, and he will get on the phone with you. He is not an ivory tower guy. I've seen him get on the phone for 45 minutes to explain a piece of legislation to a member or even a potential member. Okay, so that's one. And the other thing, and James has talked about this. I don't even mention it because we're around for 70. Because we have over 350,000 members in the country, we've partnered with a lot of big companies. So we offer our membership substantial discounts on a lot of products and services people are using. This is a partial listing, and we're adding new ones all the time, but I'm just going to highlight a couple. For example, credit card processing. I never talk about it here because we want that seat, but we have a partnership with a company called TransFirst. If somebody's processing cards or wants to, the terminal for free, not a lease, not a sale, free. Here's a chip compliant terminal and $250 to sign up, and they beat their rate. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. Federal Express, okay, up to 50% off shipping on Federal Express. Office Depot, 61% off their top 3,700 items, plus 10% off the rest of the catalog, plus free shipping. Sprint, 40% off. So, James, let me ask you a question. I'm going to start the Q&A with James, and I'm going to ask the question because Jimmy signed up a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And can you just tell me roughly, dollars and cents, how much is your firm going to save just using these discounts?
So he asked me like a month ago to actually figure it out because I told him I couldn't believe it. And it's over $5,000 definitely.
Okay.
From Office Depot, FedEx, and Sprint is a big one too.
So those three alone are going to save him $5,000. Now, this is how we do it. We ask based on number of employees. That's how the membership is calculated. However, we're a nonprofit. It's not about the money. Nobody in Washington, Albany ever comes to us and say, well, how much did your members pay to be a member? What they ask is, how many businesses do you represent? So we don't care, okay? We do suggest for a sole proprietor or less, we ask you give up 1 can of soda or 1 cup of coffee a day. $1 a day, $1.06. A 1-year membership, base $375. However, if you can't do that, what can you do? It's okay. Okay, you heard. Jimmy's going to save $5 grand. He came in for $375, so it's $1.06 for a $5,000 savings. Do any of the financial people in the room have any kind of product that could give you that kind of ROI? Katie, anything like that? I invest $375, get back $5 grand. No, okay. So, being a little facetious. Not gonna be a little facetious, but you know, there's a tremendous value there. Plus, you can think of this as both a donation and a membership. What do I mean by that? We do no outside fundraising. We take no outside donations. 100% of what we do is based on the membership. Okay, I have people who looked at the chart and said, you know what, I should be at 375, but I believe in what you're doing, I'm going to give you 500. Okay, so it's really up to you. So if you, who am I looking for? I am looking for business owners who would like to be educated, who want to be on top of things, who want the representation, or if nothing else, they want to do their part to fight back against the legislators in Albany and Washington who are constantly trying to tax and legislate them literally out of business. All right, thank you. That concludes my part of the presentation. I will open up for Q&A.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Katie.
What amount of people is the maximum for the small business?
We do not accept donations in excess of $10,000. Thank you for answering. And the reason we don't is because quite from
10,000, but I'm talking more like how many employees would you like?
There's no maximum. I'd say generally up to 100. Okay. You know, but if somebody with a 200 wants to join, we will. But let me finish what I was saying. We do not accept donations in excess of $10,000 specifically because we don't want anybody giving us a lot of money, because then they think they get to buy influence with us. Okay, and it's not like that. We're a one member, one vote policy. That doesn't mean if somebody came in for $200 or $10,000, they only get one vote. All right, any other questions?
More of a comment about the mail order. I guess that you know, the insurance company basically said, we're not forcing you to do anything. You can go to your provider. You signed out contract. You made it. You agreed that you would use our people at a discount, or your people, and you can pay full price. And that's basically it.
And that happened to me personally.
And I went up to the state legislators, because I go up there every year. And their answer was, they're not forcing you to do anything. You have a choice. You can go here, or you can go there, and it's your choice, and you can you pay whatever you want, what you agreed to pay when you sign the contract, and no one forced you to sign the contract.
Right, but for example, my wife works for UFT. That's where we have our insurance, and you know what? We have some recurring medications, and on any recurring medications, we have to use that, or we pay more than double.
That's correct.
More than double.
But no one's forcing you.
Yeah.
You can. Guy and give you your business.
Right, but who's going to do that? You know. I
agree with you, Mark. I'm just telling you.
Thank you.
I fought that battle. It's a ridiculous thing that I like.
Agreed.
Pharmacists.
Agreed. You know, and we, you know, I live in Rockaway. It's like a small town. Yep. We had no first name. I'm on a first name basis with every store owner in Rockaway that I do business. You know, it's Muhammad at the bagel pharmacy, and I want to bring them my business, but my hands are tied. Okay. Any other questions?
Looking at the voting record of Congress and extension of that, it looks overwhelmingly, looking at it, that the Democrats are kind of against all business Republicans.
Listen, it's just the way it.
More your rights on the federal level or on the state?
It's equal. It's equal. Okay. We have, like I said, we have offices in every state capital and in Washington. It's just the way that business owners tend to skew more Republican. Okay, it's just the nature of the parties, but that doesn't mean that a Democrat who's a business owner who realizes, oh my God, I just got banged the $10,000 fine for some BS legislation is not going to say, wait a minute, hell with this is my pocket you're talking about. All right, and that's why we attract from both sides.
How does that affect you? You being a Democratic state, how does it affect the fights?
You know what? It really doesn't. Only once I walked into a business, guy was out in Astoria, Queens, and I started doing my presentation, and he says, well, I'm a super delegate for Hillary Clinton, and I was at the Democratic National Committee as a delegate, and I was like, I don't think you're who I'm looking for, because he was a one-man attorney. That's the only time in a year that it's really been an issue.
Back to his office this week.
Huh?
Revisit that.
So again, and it didn't matter to us who won, because we purposely did not endorse a candidate, because we knew whoever won, we're going to have to work with them for the next 4 years or 8 years. So, we stayed neutral, but we presented like the economic plans and the tax plans and the impacts of both candidates' plans to our membership. You can go on our website, NFIB.com, and you can look up issues, benefits by state, and it's very interesting. It's a really well done website, and there's a lot of information there. One more question.
I think with the current candidate that won the presidency, since he's a Democrat, but he's not like a full Republican, he has more open views as far as businesses.
Well, actually, interestingly enough, he requested to meet with our CEO, Juanita Duggan, prior to the election to get the pulse of small business in the country. We were one of only 5 organizations where he actually requested a meeting. So that bodes well, I think, not only for us, but for all small business, regardless of, who you supported. All right? All right. Thank you.